I just want to introduce myself. I hope most of you would have, met me in some conferences as well as on the meetings. My name is Jay Anand. I'm the support technical manager in Service Desk Plus support team, and I'm with Service Desk Plus for the past 12 years. Right. So my job, one of my primary job is to take care of the support team, as well as I'm part of training the partners across the globe. All right. So let me move on to my presentation. All right. So this is gonna be the today's session's agenda. So firstly, I would like to talk about the ITL aligned Service Desk Plus. I hope most of you guys are already associated with ManageEngine for quite a while, but still there may be some people who could be new to the application, or maybe due to ManageEngine as well. So that's why I just want to balance the content of today's session with little on basics and more on the new features, whatever we have introduced in the product. And then the next topic is on one of the hot selling topics. It's on integrations, SDP integrations. So we'll be discussing on what are all the different integrations available out of box with SDP. And then the third topic we'll be discussing on the user management, meaning how we can manage users in the application. Along with that, we are going to see what are the new features that we have introduced in the user management module. And then we'll go through the overview of incident and service request management, the basics of incidents and service request management. And also we'll be discussing on the new features, whatever introduced. And then we'll be talking about the problem management, then the change management and project management, and then asset and CMDB. And also we're gonna be discussing later on the reporting capabilities, the reports that are available within the product, as well as the reports that can be generated using the integration, meaning the integration with the advanced analytics tools. And then we'll be discussing on the ESM feature. So I hope you guys have already got an idea of how and what is ESM and how it works. So we probably can explore more today by looking at what are all the different configuration involved and what are all the new features that we have added in the ESM feature, ESM functionality. And then we're gonna discuss on the most important topic. As a partners, we may be getting some specific requirements from the customer which may not be available out of box. So we're gonna be looking at some options available in the application using which we can customize the product, or we can have a specific requirement address for the customer using some customization options. All right, so that's gonna be today's agenda. So before we proceed into the training, I have a couple of rules. So yeah, we have many people have joined this particular training, and I think I feel really good about it. So we have, we have just organized this webinar in such a way that the people who have any questions, I hope you guys will have a lot of questions in the product. So I would encourage you to post your questions on chat. So I promise that I'll make sure that I answer all the questions over this session, or if I go beyond and I exceed the time limit of 1.5 hours, then I will make sure that I'm responding you on all the queries or an email, right? So I think we will have the whole bunch of email addresses of you guys. So I'll make sure that you get the responses for all the questions what are being asked. And also I make sure that this presentation, so this is just a quick presentation I've created for this training. So I hope this can do a little help. Probably this can be used as a reference to see what are the different features or important features that we have released at the latest versions of Service Desk Plus. So I will share this presentation as well. All right, so remember the rule. So if you have any questions, please do post it on chat and I'll make sure that I'm responding to it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this is for the beginners, especially people who are all starting to learn about Service Desk Plus. So Service Desk Plus is an ITL ready product. And when we say that you're following a standard, then we should be speaking the language of the particular standard or particular standard. So yes, these are the terminologies we use: requesters, technicians, incident management, service management, problem management, change management, asset management, CMDB, and service level agreements, user groups, support groups, and enterprise service management. So these are some of the terminologies that we use. I don't think I could go into each of these in detail because these are all standards, and you can pretty much get an idea of what these are all about. If you are unsure about any of this terminology, probably a quick Google search, or we have millions of documents in our website using which you can get to know about all this. So my style of training is on getting a scenario of something, and we'll be looking at how that scenario can be better achieved using a right process and right configuration in place. So I have a couple of scenarios for today. One is on service request management, using which I'll be discussing on how the service request form can be designed and what are the different automations available. And then we'll be discussing on how the asset management works and how the asset procurement works, and then how the contracts can be added. So this is one workflow, and I'll make sure that these are all interconnected just to make sure that you guys can remember what we have discussed today. And then the other scenario is on incident management, wherein we'll talk about how and what are the different ways through which an incident can be reported, and then how the reported incidents can be converted into a problem, or how the problem can be identified using the incidents, and then how a major modification can be performed using our all-powerful change management. So we will look at the complete life cycle using the incident management story. Before I move on further, so I would like to talk a little about, or maybe more about, enterprise service management. Okay, so I just have a quick graph over here. So people or the partners who are associated with ManageEngine for a while, probably they know how we have started with. So we started as a IT help desk tool, and then we slowly moved on and built an IT service management tool. And we were calling ourselves as an IT service management tool before a year. And then in this, or the last year, we have released a feature called Enterprise Service Management. So we are lifted to the next level, wherein the same help desk application can be served to the multiple departments in the organization. And hope you guys can see what are the other levels, the next levels, whatever we have in place: IT and business process automations, platform and marketplace, and employee experience management. So these are the next levels that we have in our mind. So I'm showing this diagram for getting you a vision of what or how we are progressing on our application, right? So right now we are in the third level. So I hope most of you guys have tried how the enterprise service management works in our application. But what I do is I'll give you a quick brief on what is enterprise service management and how it can help us. So maybe some of us would be selling the product as IT help desk tool, right? Or an ITSM tool. So with the ESM feature, we can extend our tool to be used for any other departments as mentioned, as shown up in my screen. So we can use it as a travel help desk, or a legal help desk, human resources help desk, finance and facilities help desk. So these are all some of them, but if you go to a customer, they might have unique requirements, or we might have to find the opportunity to have service deployed for one of their help desk requirements. So we made it as simple as possible. So I just have one of my installation over here, and I do have multiple instances already created, but I just want to quickly show you how this works. And I hope you all have noticed the change if you're working on the latest versions of Service Desk Plus. So this will get you an option to create and manage instances in the application. So let me quickly show you what are all the different instances I have in this particular installation. I have created one for IT and one for marketing, and here something in random in HR. So here we can create up to 10 instances on the on-premise version of Service Desk Plus. So here when I create an instance, say I just want to create one for facilities. I hope I don't have facilities already. Okay, great. So here, when I create one, I get an option to choose what type of instance I'm creating. So is it blank or facilities or human resources? So for facilities and human resources, we have created a kind of template. So we just did a groundwork on what are all the types of requests raised for facilities and human resources. So we have pre-populated some templates and data based on the specific requirements on facilities and human resources. All right, so I'm going to create one, and here comes an option to choose an owner. So this is one important option available, so we need to be very careful about it. So the idea behind the ESM is, say you're an IT administrator and you manage Service Desk Plus, and you are being requested to create an instance for facilities. So what you would do, you would go into the application and you would create an instance over here. And here in this one field, the person who is the admin on that particular department. So this would get a complete data separation between IT instance and facilities. Even though you are an administrator or IT administrator or who has full control or managing the Service Desk Plus application, you can only create an instance and allocate an owner. You should not be able to go into the instance and see all the requests. So why I'm saying this, because say if you have HR department, though you are an IT administrator, you should not have access to see all the HR requests. So we offer such a clear boundary so that we can make sure that the people who should see their own requests only. And if you notice, there is a status field as well. So this is gonna help us in finding what is the status of that instance. So initially it would be on new status. And then once the owner, whomever associated here, get onto the instance, it would be on pre-production. And then the owner can configure the instance based on the specific requirements. And then he can move that on production status. I hope you can see the other instances, whatever we have in here, are on production status. And once they decide to not to use this instance anymore, then it can be retired and then deleted. So these are the different statuses available for instances. And also, we have a different licensing model for each of these instances. For example, the customer has an IT team of 200 technicians, and then they have a HR team for 10 technicians and facilities team with 20 technicians. So they can get for each instance, and also they can pick the specific edition, what. So this is going to help them in aligning the license accordingly. And in fact, that will be more cost effective as well. So that's the idea behind having an option to associate a license to each of this instance. So yes, as our marketing claim this creation would take lesser than 60 seconds or maybe even lesser than that. So the time all it takes for creating an instance and populating or pre-populating all the data will take lesser than 60 seconds. All right, so we don't want to wait for 60 seconds. So I'm going to quickly open up other tab and let me just quickly check if that was created already. No, it's still progressing. Oh, okay. I think I have a slowness on my network. All right, good. All right, it's created. Yes, I think that took less than 60 seconds and now we have it created. So I'm going to switch to the clearance, what we have default. So I and remember facilities how data pre-populate with regards to facilities. Okay, so these instances are hosted on cloud, so I'm not sure why it is making a little delay. Okay, so I think I had a little disconnection. So I hope you guys can still hear me. If you're not, then can you type a message on chat? You guys still hear me? Can you guys hear? I'm audible, but it's breaking. All right. The screen, my screen is visible. Oh, okay. So it's breaking, right? Okay, okay, okay. All right. Let me quickly check if it's a problem with my internet connection. Give me one quick second. Yeah, I said we are all working from home. So yeah, I hope it's not like okay, so I'm sorry about the little hiccup. Can you guys confirm again whether you can hear me properly now? Because I'm moved to a different location altogether. So I hope yeah, great. I'm sorry about that. I hope you all can see my screen as well. Okay, so let's continue. So I've created one instance for facilities. So I'm just going into the admin tab and show you what all the configurations we have by default. So I'm going into the service catalog, and these are different service categories that are created automatically by the system itself. So as I said, we did a lot of groundwork in getting all these populated. So any organization wants to start off with facilities or HR, we have predefined templates. And one other important configurations that I want to talk about is on the instance settings. So here, hope you remember that I have chosen one of the owners, right? So here, in this particular instance, we do not have any other users added into the system. So initially, when you create an instance, you will have no users, no requesters added into the system. You may have to add them manually. Only the user, whomever has been set as the owner, will be the only person who will have access to the instance. And this instance will not be visible for any other requester. So I'm going to quickly show you how the users can be added. All right. So next. And here we have a couple of options. Either you can create users by criteria, or we can associate all users in the organization. So we have externalized, or we made the user import global, meaning you can integrate with the Active Directory, or you can pull users from LDAP, or you can add them manually to in a global level. And then you can associate them into multiple instances. Say if you want a set of users from one specific department to be a part of this particular instance, that can be done. Or if you want everyone to be associated, you can do that as well. So all by a click of a button, right? And then as we normally do, we can convert the users into technicians. So this will get you flexibility to have a particular user can be a requester in one instance and can be a technician in another. So while switching from one instance to another, they will have the respective privileges. All right. And I just want to quickly talk about roles as well. So if you have noticed already, so right now we have brought in one more role called org admin. So that's a top role that can be provided to an user. So the org admin will have privilege to configure the primary instance, that is IT instance, and then they can create new instances, and they can set up users or set up owners for that instances. But they will not be able to access the other instance to which he is associated with. So right now, org admin is the top role that can be provided. And as we have earlier, SD admin is another, is a top role within an instance. Okay, so right now I do not have any user license associated with this particular instance, so it's not getting me an option. So what I'm going to do is, let me see whether I can quickly associate a license. Okay, so I have an option to have a standard edition license associated to it. So it's going to be one license again. It can be applied over, and the same license, you will have the license for each instance. So I'm going into the users again. And again, I'm going to convert one of the users or one of the requesters to a technician. And let's see how it works. Change technician. And then I'm offering SD admin. Cool. Okay, so right now I have two technicians. One is the owner, another one is the administrator whom I just created. So going back again, and also if you notice, based on the type of license applied over, I see the modules accordingly. All right, so right now, after I get access to it, I can add a few others as an owner. And also I can make this to production. So once it is on production, this can be accessed by all the users. So I guess I've demonstrated how we can create instances and how we can manage those instances as well. So right now, maybe to whomever we have introduced enterprise service management, the first question, whatever we'll be getting after all the configurations done, it's about how we can move the request from one instance to another. So earlier, probably a couple of builds back, we used to have a script that should be installed in the application through which the ticket can be moved from one instance to another. But right now, we have incorporated that particular feature available out of box. So this is gonna provide us option to move the request right from the application without a need of a specific customizations. So let me just quickly demonstrate what I have right now. So we can go under actions, and then you have an option to move request. So upon clicking on move request, this is going to ask you to choose the instance, and we can simply move it to other instance. And there is a quick note on the top. So the request, whatever available on this particular instance, on the parent instance, will be closed, and then it will be moved on to the next instance. So no conversations, no attachments, no inner images, no category, subcategory item will not be copied over. So it will be just the basic information like the subject and the description will be, and the status will be moved. All right, so I just moved one. So this is one enhancement that we have offered with the ESM feature. All right. So I guess this gives you a quick understanding on how the ESM works. So as said earlier, the primary functionality of the ESM is it will let the users to switch between one instance to another, and the user can have the respective privilege. He can be a technician or he can be a requester. If he is a technician, then he will have access to things accordingly. Right? Great. Okay, so the next thing which I want to talk about is on user management. I hope you're all aware that we have multiple ways through which we can bring in users into the application. And right now, after ESM, we brought in those settings under the ESM directory. And here you do have an option to import from Active Directory. So yes, Active Directory is one integration that almost 99% of our customer is using, and we can simply configure the domain controller from which we can import the users from Active Directory. So that's one preferred way used by multiple customers. And then we have option to import it from LDAP. Say the customer is having the installation on Linux, but still wants to use Active Directory or any other directory services like Open LDAP or Novel eDirectory. It can be configured using, the users can be imported using LDAP protocol with this configuration. I hope we all know that already, and it's been there for a while. And as usual, we can add through the traditional form method. You can open a form and fill in all the details, create a user, and then we can convert them as a technician. So that can be done as well. And then we also have the APIs through which we can add users. So these are the multiple ways through which we can add users into the application. And the next topic we're going to talk on the authentication. So we have different types of authentication enabled for the users in the application. So the first most preferred way is AD authentication. It's the Active Directory authentication. So it is possible to enable the single sign-on as well. So once you have single sign-on, the users can just simply type in the URL and they can be logged in without having to specify the credentials, right? So that's single sign-on. And then we have the LDAP authentication as well. So if they're using any LDAP directory services, LDAP enabled directory services like Novel eDirectory or Open LDAP, they can use LDAP authentication. And of course, we have the local authentication as well. So for the users who are getting created on the application directory, directly, they can have local authentication. Yes, in addition to that, the recent version, we have also provided the SAML authentication. So this is a web-based authentication through which it is possible to have the users to use their SAML account, right? Meaning it can be on Azure AD or Okta, through which the users can be authenticated and logged into the application. So the users should be already available. Just the authentication can be done using SAML. So if the user is not available already, then the application would automatically create an account. All right, so that's how the SAML authentication enabled. For further details, we have the document on how we can configure it and what are the information that we need to get from Azure and how it should be populated. So all this information is available in one good document, and I'll make sure that that particular document reaches you all. All right, so this is the addition to the user management in Service Desk Plus. So yes, so we talked about what are the different ways we can create users, and also we talked about different authentication. And also, I hope most of you are aware of the site configuration. So we can have the configuration based on sites. So these sites can be created in the enterprise directory, and then the configuration specific to the site for each instance can be configured inside the specific instance. Say I have an instance already created called Chennai, and here when I go inside, under the particular instance settings, we can have option to configure the site specific settings like operation hours, holidays, business hours, SLAs, and departments and technicians, so on. So that can be configured in the instance level. So why I'm saying this, because earlier it used to be under one settings, meaning if you create multiple sites, you'll be configuring that on a general mode. So right now after ESM, we have option to create sites, but all the settings related to the site will be done inside the instance. So this is one such setting I'm trying to get you in. So Chennai is available on all the instances wherein I have an option to configure the settings, which was made easier using this particular dialog box. So you can either copy the settings, refer the settings, or you can create the own settings using the custom settings. All right. So yeah, I guess these are the basics. The one good addition to the user management is the SAML authentication. Okay, so the next topic which I would like to talk on is the couple of use cases or scenarios that I was talking in the beginning of this particular webinar. So I have two use cases over here. One is the incident use case, and another one is a service request use case. So the first one, I want to talk on the incident workflow. So hope you all would have heard that we have more than 90 plus products underneath ManageEngine. So one of the benefits that we claim of using ManageEngine is we have a suite of products, and most of these products can integrate with each other and work in a combined mode, right? So these all can be integrated and work in the combined mode. So in my scenario for this session, say we have a monitoring system. So I hope you all have heard about Op Manager. So say we have Op Manager set to monitor multiple servers in an environment, and we get all alerts created as tickets inside Service Desk Plus. Meaning we have that integration in place so that whatever alerts getting generated in OP Manager, that's getting created as requests in Service Desk Plus. So we get all the requests. So with the requests, we have a pretty good reporting module, and also we have integration with advanced analytics tools using which we can do a pattern analysis. Meaning we can see the list of categories that has got more number of requests. So based on the count of requests, we identify which of these has to be checked. Meaning in this particular scenario, say if the payroll server generates a lot of alerts and that are getting created as requests in the system, then that could be an indication that we might have something wrong in the particular payroll server. So that is the time that we understand that it should be created as a problem management. So Service Desk Plus has problem management, and currently we have only limited functionalities. But down the line, we have plans to enhance the problem management and bring in more functionalities in it. And then once we identify the problem, say the payroll server's hardware configuration is old, then we are going with the change management, wherein we're gonna be doing a major modification on the payroll server by migrating all the data to a different server and get a new server up and running with the payroll server. So we're gonna see how this particular workflow can be achieved using Service Desk Plus. And parallelly, we're gonna see what are all the different configuration involved, and also we'll be looking at what are all the new enhancements added into the application. All right. So let's assume that we are getting multiple requests added into the system, multiple incidents added into the system. So let's quickly talk about, or let's quickly list down what are all the different ways through which an incident can be created in the system. So the most primary mode used by the customers is email. And the mode that we recommend or strongly advise to our users is self-service portal. And we also have the chat option. I hope most of you have explored chat. So the users can raise a chat, and then a chat can be converted into a request within the application. And then we do have APIs. So even if it's gonna be a different monitoring application, it is possible to integrate Service Desk Plus by configuring the APIs in other application, through which it is possible to create tickets. And of course, we can create requests manually. So these are the different ways through which we can raise incidents in the system. So to iterate again, the preferred option or the option or the mode what we recommend is the self-service portal, which has its own advantages. So yes, configuring the template, setting up the template gonna be pretty straightforward. So we got a drag and drop canvas wherein we have option to just choose drag and drop the fields that are required for this particular template. And so people, if you're wondering how these all colors are brought into this particular template, is through the latest feature that we have added. That is the customization option here, which would be available in the right-hand side corner, using which we can customize the form for both requesters and technicians. You can configure a background color, and also you can place where the label should be. It should be on the left, right, or on the top. And also even you can choose the font. So this is gonna make the form more appealing to the users, right? So yes, so this is just a drag and drop canvas wherein you can simply drag and drop the fields, right? And also you can make the particular field as mandatory, or it should be shown up to the requester, or it should be editable or updatable or addable, right, by the requester. So all these options are available as we have already. And then we have the requester. Yes, as I said, you can see it. And we do have an option to create additional fields, right? So we have option to create up to 90 additional fields in the application. So yeah, it can be a common field, or it can be made available more specific to the incidents, so that can be managed as well. And this workflow is available with for a few builds. So this have a pretty limited configuration, but still these are all really helpful. So here we have the approval configurations on the workflow. So unlike service request templates, it is not possible to set the approvers right here, since all incidents, in all incidents or any incident, the approver would be applied or approval would be added depending upon the type of case. So it will not make sense if we provide an option to add approvers, default approvers on the template. So we have provided a couple of configurations wherein you can make whether all approvers must approve the request or any one of them is fine. And one other new enhancement that is being added into the application is the checklist. So here in the checklist, it is possible to add questions in the radio button format, single line, numeric, or decision box. So this is going to be an handy feature through which it is possible for the technicians to make sure that they have performed all the required items. So though we have tasks for assigning the ownership, there could be few things that they have to perform over the request. So those items can be added as a checklist. Right? Okay, values, yes, no. Okay, so adding this is going to be very simple. So this will be available as one of the tabs in the request form. Let me quickly show you that as well. All right. Okay. So checklist is one of the new addition we have. So we can create multiple checklists and you can associate with the template. And also we have the task details wherein we can associate multiple tasks. And here in the task, we have an enhancement. So this was one of the long-awaited enhancements by customers. That is, say you have a task created and we have assigned it to one particular technician. So the technician may have to know the details from the request as well. So for that, we have provided an option right now to associate requests properties into task as well. So let me quickly show how this is going to be used. So here, by clicking on the little icon you have next to the task name, if you can still see the plus icon with the page symbol. So this will list out the whole bunch of fields there on the request templates. So we can pick what are all the fields supposed to be shown up. And this will help the technician, whomever got assigned with this particular task, to see the properties from the request itself. So this is one among the frequently requested enhancements in the application, and that is available right now. Right? So here in this particular configuration, the new additions are checklist and the task. All right, so that's a quick run through on the incident management template configuration. And also we have the field and form rules, which we will discuss more on this towards the end of the session, because I wanted to have more focus on this particular functionality. So I'm just saving this particular topic for the last. Okay. So we have seen the template customization, and next thing which we're gonna see on the automations available within the application. So as we all know, we have the business rules through which we can push the requests into respective buckets. So I don't want to go much deeper into all the functionalities of business rule. So I just want to quickly show up the couple of options that we have recently added. So one is negate and other one is execute script. So while creating a rule saying that when the subject contains a particular keyword, say payroll, so the payroll request should go to a different help desk tool. So in such scenario, we can write a rule in the application in such a way, when the subject contains payroll, don't create the request. So for setting up the option of don't create the request, we can use the negate option. Likewise, we have also added an execute script option. Say if you want to perform some automation based on the request being created or request being edited, then we can use execute script. And the same negate can be used on edit operation as well. Say when the request matches a specific criteria, we can stop that particular action from happening. just by having this negate option. So this is the one of the automations we have. And the next automation which we are going to discuss on technician auto assign. So, and this particular feature is available for a while. So I just want to quickly brief about for what are the options available for the beginners of Service Desk Plus. So we have option to automatically distribute the requests in round robin fashion or load balancing. And yes, these are the other options. So whenever there is a request, if you have this enabled, this is going to distribute the request to the technician accordingly. And the recent addition in this particular auto assign automation is assign only to online technicians. So I hope you all have noticed that there is an option to make a user online or offline. The technician can choose himself whether he's online or offline through this. So based on which it is possible to assign the requests. So this will work only for online technicians if you have a check market. So apart from that, we have the exceptions or excluding the technician that can be done as well. And the third automation which I want to talk about is on service level agreements, SLA. Okay, so I'll quickly go through that. Okay. All right. So why am I showing this particular automation? So I hope you guys have already have an idea of how this SLA works, right? So yep, for the beginners, yes, the SLAs can be configured to make a request should be responded within a specific time and resolved within a specific time period. And if it is exceeded, then we can have escalation. If it is not responded, we can have one level. And if it is not resolved, we have 4 levels. On each level, we can say whom it has to notify and when it has to trigger. And also we can set some actions like assigning to a different group, assigning to a different technician, or setting up a different priority or level. So these options are already available. The recent addition to this SLA is OLAs. So yeah, this has been one other frequently requested enhancement, and that is available right now. So OLAs are operation level agreements. So the SLA is a contract between that particular team and the organization, meaning when a request is raised to the IT team, which is of high priority, it should be resolved within a couple of hours. So that's the agreement between the team and the rest of the employees or the organization. Whereas the OLA is an agreement between the teams, say, or groups. I think the better terminology we can use is groups. Say in the IT team, we will have multiple groups. Say hardware support group, software support group, network support group. So these are the different groups available in the IT department. So OLAs can be configured in such a way that we can specify this is the maximum time each group can utilize on the particular request. Say we have a request saying that the performance of the laptop is low. So initially that particular request being assigned to the hardware group. We can specify that this particular request should be handled by hardware group just for a couple of hours, and then it should be moved on to the other group. So that can be ensured by having this operational agreements in place. So here I select hardware problems and I can choose what is the number of hours or number of days they can have this particular request on their name. So likewise, I can have multiple groups chosen. So when a request is being handled, just similar to the SLA due by time, we will have one more field called OLA due by time. So that's gonna be showing up when before which that has to be resolved by the, or it should be handled by the specific group. So let me quickly save it. So if you notice, I've chosen some random days in here. So there was an alert saying that it should complement the SLA time period. Since I have chosen only 2 days over here, I mean 2 hours to resolve, but it did not accept because, so the total OLA time, that is the total time spent by all the groups should be less or equal to the SLA time. So I'm going to quickly switch this to 2 days, right? And then I'm saving the setting. So as said earlier, when we have the request matching this criteria applied with this, and if the request has been assigned to the specific group, this is going to show up an OLA due by time saying that it should be resolved within this particular time period. If it exceeds, then we can have notifications as well. And above that, we have reporting as well. So we have plenty of reports based on OLAs, and this is going to help us in getting reports on OLA violation by the group or the OLA violated request as well. So this is going to be a handy reports that are available by default. Okay, so that's the third automation we have. And the fourth automation that I want to discuss on, really important one. So before I go and talk about the next automation, I just want to quickly jump to the chat window to see if you guys are listening, because I just want to check whether am I audible still, and also you guys can see my screen. Okay, looks like we have multiple questions, so meaning you all are listening. Great. Okay, I'll make sure that I'm responding to all these questions. Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, the fourth automation that I want to discuss on RLC, request lifecycle. So I hope most of you have explored how this request lifecycle works, but I just want to quickly demonstrate by creating a new lifecycle, because this is one among the important enhancements that we have done, and definitely this is going to be really useful for our customers, because the opportunities or the possibilities we have using this RLC is endless. Meaning any custom requirement that the customer is asking for, I hope most of them can be achieved using the request lifecycle feature. So what I do is I'll quickly delete this, because I use the same instance for training different other partners as well. So I'm going to create a new from scratch. So the scenario, what I'm going to take is on critical priority incident, meaning I just want to define a workflow for handling a critical priority incident. So here, this particular request lifecycle can be associated to both incident templates and service request templates. Remember, these request lifecycle can be created separately and then associated to incident service request templates, or it can be a same request lifecycle for both. So I'm going to quickly create one lifecycle with a default request so that we can see what are all the different options available. All right. So I have a lifecycle already created here. So I'm going to delete and I'm going to create from the beginning. All right, so I've deleted most of them, just a couple more to go. So the primary objective of this scenario is we need to create a workflow for the critical priority incident. Say if we have a critical priority incident, we just want to make sure that it is being attended and solved as quick as possible. So there won't be any room for placing the request on hold status. So I'm going to quickly create a scenario. So this is just a simple scenario I'm trying to demonstrate to make sure that you guys can understand how we can work with the request lifecycle. Okay, so this whole request lifecycle revolves around the statuses, the different statuses, whatever we can create in the application, whatever we have created in the application. So it's a graphical workflow builder. So you have a leverage of just using your mouse and getting the lifecycle created. And the one that you have in the middle between the start and the open is called transitions. So that is where we're going to configure the rules and conditions through which the lifecycle gonna work. So for this particular transition, I have two options over here. So what should be done during the particular transition and what should be done after this particular transition. So since this is the first transition being added, I have a couple of options. So you can imagine when you create a request, you can make some fields mandatory using this request lifecycle. In this particular request, I'm making urgency and impact as mandatory. And after the request is created, we can have further automation. Say if you want to notify someone on this particular request creation, this can be done using this particular option. So you may ask, what is the difference between the notification, whatever we can enable under notification rules, and this one? So this is very specific to this particular template. That is, only when if the request is triggered, this will send this notification, and this is not for all the requests, just for the request whatever created using this particular template applied with this particular request lifecycle. So similar to business rules, you can configure the own criteria, and based on which the notification can be triggered. And also there is an option to create or run a script, meaning if you want this particular request information to be shared to another system, that can be made possible using this particular execute script option. All right, so I don't want to spend more time on this. What I do is I'm going to quickly build the workflow with other statuses. So here I just want to show you one little change when I'm adding this transition. So I'm adding a transition called in progress. If you notice, I have three options over here. So I can even define a rule before that particular transition happens, meaning I can specify who's supposed to use this particular status on this request. Say if I want to restrict only the ticket owner or the group members, meaning the or group, whatever assigned to that particular request, the people part of it should be only can move the request to specific status. So if we have such condition, I can create a criteria over here using which I can make sure only in progress, only the users whom have been a ticket owner or the group member can move the ticket to this particular status, right? So I just made it, and like the one which you have seen earlier, we will have more conditions that can be configured on during and after. So I'm just quickly creating other transitions. So each transition can have its own conditions and own automations. Close. And then I have one more limb to be connected. Yes, it's end. So here I'm just gonna show you one other configuration, meaning it's just not one way. So if you have the opposite way, or maybe if you want to go back to the previous status, that can be done as well. So if you notice, you would see 5 different joins can be created from each status. So I'm just trying to create a workflow in such a way that from resolve status, either it can move on to the close status or it can be reopened. And also we can have a condition in place. Say when the request is reopened, you can have a field to capture why it's being reopened, right? So I just created a quick workflow, and I'm going to publish this, and I'm going to show you how exactly that impacts on the request, right? So I have this published, and you do have an option to save it as a draft, so that if you're creating a complex workflow, you can save it, and then you can come back and continue working on the template. Okay, so since I have created this particular workflow for the default request template, I'm going to create a request real quick and show you how it works. Okay, so that's a default request template with all colors and fancy stuff. Okay, so if you remember, I have made impact and urgency as mandatory. If you remember, that was the first thing we did when we started with the particular request lifecycle configuration. I'm creating one. Okay, I missed the important configuration. I'm sorry, important option to be filled in. All right. Okay, so I created a request with a default template configuration. And here I'm just trying to change the status. So as per the workflow, only the ticket owner should or can update the status to another. So right now, no ticket owner is assigned. That's why it doesn't show me an option to switch to in progress. So I'm going to choose myself as a ticket owner and let's see how it impacts on the request. All right, so right now I see the next transition as in progress. So either we can change the status from here or we can change the status from here. So by clicking on it, it will verify all the conditions, meaning if you have made some fields as mandatory or if you have made some conditions based on which you have done automation to update the details to other system, all these can be performed just by a click of a button. And then we can move to further transitions. And if you remember that we have created a couple of transitions after resolve. So once it is resolved, this has got me a couple of options, either to reopen or close the request. So based on the transition chosen, the respective action would be performed. So this is one powerful functionality we have in the application. So through which it is possible to control every stage or every status on the particular request. And also several automations can be made possible. Even if there is a unique requirement to handle the requests that go for purchases, as well as if you have a use case from a customer on DevOps, meaning they are handling the development activities using this application or ticket handling using this application. So the request lifecycle gonna be really helpful in configuring the custom workflows graphically, right? So since we are on the request page already, I just want to show you one more interesting functionality that was added in the recent versions. Let me show that real quick. Layout. So here you can design how you want to see this request, see the request. So if you want, you can have a technician layout, meaning you can show up how this needs to be shown up for the technician. So this is going to be real handy so that you can organize the data, whatever being shown up in the request view page. So you can also configure what's supposed to be shown up in the right-hand side, or RHS, right-hand side, yes. And you can keep some of the important key fields in the right-hand side so that you can make it available all the time. And also you can arrange the tabs as well as you can configure how it should look like for the requester as well. So this is going to be pretty handy, and I hope our customers would like it, maybe because they can get the feel of customizing however they want to see the requests, right? So this is one other customization we have added in the request form. And I just want to show you a couple other customizations that can be done as well. So these are all UI based. And this one, I really like it personally. So this is a combined view, meaning you can have the request and task in one combined view. If I have a set of requests and set of tasks, I don't want to jump between multiple interfaces. I get everything in one single view. And also there is an option to create a table view as well as the classic view, right? So this is going to be real handy for the technicians whom are working on the request. And one more option that we have added is color setting. I guess this is also one of the functionalities that is being requested by the customers for a while. So this can be created based on the status or category, group, or priority. So you can choose your own coloring so that we can make the request easily identifiable, right? So you can add for each category, you can have a separate color. So based on which the request will be displayed. So this is going to be one other cool feature that we have introduced through which you can easily identify the requests. All right, so we talked about the automations and also the recent features or latest features what were added. So we talked about the automations, business rules, technician auto assignment, SLAs, and then we talked about the RLC. And then we talked about the customizations we had. And in addition to that, we have a few more custom automations like request closing rules, meaning when you close a request, it's always a best practice to put the request on resolve status. And then the requester would choose whether the request has to be closed, right? So that can be performed under the request closing rules. So here we have an option to make an automated closer. So we can have the system to automatically close a request after the specified number of days. And if they are not taking any action, the request would be closed automatically. So we have more customizations or more automations in the application. I know those are all little when comparing to the ones we have discussed. So we can always have a look at the README to see, README of Service Test Plus, and that's going to get us the whole list of enhancements, whatever we have released with a specific build. So if you could follow up on this one, it's going to get you a better understanding. I hope you all know that the latest version that we have released is 11110. It's 11,110, right? So that's the latest one. And we are keep releasing multiple features in the application. And yes, one more enhancement that I want to talk about. I mean, I had it in my checklist. Happy that I recalled it. So that's on. Okay, so that's on the mail server settings. Okay, so earlier we used to have option to configure POP or IMAP account using the basic authentication. But now in the recent times, Microsoft Outlook and all other email providers have given a notice saying that the basic authentication will be no longer supported. So we are offered OAuth authentication. So this is gonna help you in converting the users from basic authentication to OAuth authentication to ensure that the mail fetching is not stopped in their application. So this is gonna be very mandatory. So I mean, maybe most of our customers will come up with this particular question. So we can direct them to upgrade the application to the more latest build, and this is gonna let them to choose OAuth authentication rather basic. So this is gonna be pretty straightforward. Like you can configure the connect URL. This would be available readily on the Office 365 account. Office 365 account. They can get all this information and get it updated. So this is gonna help them fetch the emails using the secured OAuth authentication. All right, so the incident management workflow has been discussed. And let me just quickly run through the problem and change management. And we do not have much enhancement on this, but for the beginners, I just wanna quickly touch point what are all the options available in problem. Say a request can be created into a problem. So the problem, the outcome of the problem, what we can expect is a solution or a workaround. And we have the option to analyze what is the problem. And there we have a few options, like you can document the impact, root cause, and symptoms. Each of these have its own significance. And then you can derive a solution or a workaround, or if it's a known error, that can be marked as well. So this is one common question to be asked. So if it's a known error, that can be marked. And we can associate multiple incidents that has triggered the problem over here. We can associate it. The advantage of getting these associated is, let me show you, problem closure rules. So here there's gonna get us the option to email technicians working on all the associated incidents, and email requesters affected by the problem. And if you want to copy the solution and workaround to all incidents, that can be done. And also closing all incidents, that can be done. So this is one important option available in the problem. So if you have any customer practicing problem management, we can suggest them to use it and make sure that these options are enabled. So there's gonna be additional benefit for them. Okay, so the next topic which I wanna discuss is on the change management. So our change management is a 6-stage design, starting with submission. wherein we will document what change is going to be performed and when it's going to be performed, and who are all the users supposed to be a part of the change. So all these will be added into the submission phase. And then moving on to the planning, it will have an answer for how this particular change going to be performed. What is the rollout plan, backup plan, checklist, downtime that's going to be documented. And then under approval, we have an option to add a change advisory board and get their recommendation. And based on the recommendation, the change can be implemented. So under implementation, we have a couple of options. Either it can be created as a project or it can be created as a task, and then it will be reviewed and then finally closed. So this is the straightforward workflow we have for change management. So similar to request management, we have an option to create templates and we can add fields. So we can add around 20 fields, 20 additional fields to the template, and we can customize it based on the specific change types. So when I say change types, I hope you're all aware that we have different types of changes: standard, minor, major, significant, and so on. So for some types, say if it's going to be an antivirus definition update, it doesn't require any kind of approval because it's no impact change, but it still needs to be recorded for the sake of having that recorded. So for that, we can have an option to get it pre-approved. So upon choosing this option, when the change is being created, it will be automatically pre-approved. All right. And then I just want to quickly show you the option of creating workflows. Meaning, say for example, when we are performing an emergency change, so it may not be possible to follow the complete life cycle. Meaning we cannot start with the submission stage, go through the planning, approval, and then implementation and review and closure. Rather, we can adjust the workflow in such a way, like right from the submission, we can jump on to approval. Where in approval, we can have the emergency care, and then we can move on to implementation, and then we can move on to review. And if the review fails, go back to the previous planning stage and then closure. So transfers between the stages can be done using the workflow configuration. And also here we have an option to move or notify people about the particular stage or about the particular stage movement. So yes, so the major functionality we have in the change is the workflow, wherein you can customize it based on the specific requirements. And also there is one more option that we have added in the some versions recently. So this will help us in getting the change auto approved when everyone or all cab members approve it. So this is going to be a real handy option using which we can make the change automatically approved. All right. So the next one, which I want to quickly go through, is on project management. So the project management is a 3-layer design in service desk. Project, underneath that we can have milestones, underneath that we can have tasks. So for change and project management, we can involve even the requesters as well. So that's why we have an option to specify a whole set of new roles for the change and project management. So for in project management perspective, we have default roles like project admin, who will be managing multiple projects, and we can have project manager who will be managing the specific set of projects, and then we can have team leaders who will be managing the milestones, and then the team members will be managing the task. So each of them can be provided with the respective work to do on that particular project. And one cool addition to the project management is the resource management. So here, this will help you to manage the task just by drag and drop. Okay, so I'm going to quickly create, or maybe I'll just try to find one. Yep. So this is going to be one of the tasks created for administrator. Say if I want to move this task to myself, so all I have to do is simply move here. So just a drag and drop canvas wherein resources can be managed easily using this particular screen. And this particular resource management is available also on the home page, and the previous screen will help us managing the resources within the particular project. but this is going to help you in managing the task across the application. So this is going to be a real cool feature using which it is possible to manage the task simply by drag and drop, right? So this is going to be available. I mean, this is available already. So within task as well as for the whole bunch of tasks created in the application for just looking at how the resource is being utilized. And if you want to manage those resources and the job, whatever they're performing, it can be easily done using the resource management. All right. So yeah, the projects can also have, I mean, with the latest versions, the projects can also get new changes associated, meaning you can have one or multiple projects associated with changes. And in the project, it is possible to trigger and create new changes. And also we can associate incidents. The best example I can give it to you right now is, say the payroll server needs to be upgraded. And when it's being upgraded, I mean, it has been created as a project. And when it's being upgraded, it requires a database upgrade as well for the latest version of the payroll application. So in such case, from the project, it is required to create a change. So that can be made possible using the associations tab. So here you can create a new change or existing changes. And for the request, whatever being raised within the particular project, we can use associate existing requests. So this is going to be one new addition we have done for the projects. All right. So getting back to the changes, and upon completion of the change, the whole life cycle can be covered by capturing the requests that has triggered this particular change, and also the requests that are created after the change. If you could visualize as a complete life cycle, meaning we get incidents from monitoring solution that were created as requests, and then by pattern analysis, by reports, we have identified the problem, and proactively we have found that it should be, I mean, the payroll server should be upgraded. So we've gone through the change, and also we have involved projects using which we have upgraded the server, and then we have captured the whole bunch of requests created, and created the change, and also created due to the change. So this is one life cycle, or the one complete workflow process which I want to discuss on in the incident management. Okay, so I hope I have covered most of the latest enhancements, whatever we have done in the request management as well. Okay, now let me go on to the next workflow for service request management. So I'm going to pick the classic scenario of user onboarding. So I hope most of you would have heard this particular workflow many times, but still I'm going to give you a little brief for the beginners, as well as I wanted to demonstrate what are the new features made available in the service request management story. I think, yeah, I think it's better to call as a story. Okay, so user onboarding. So earlier, before enterprise service management, we used to, recommend our users to create a request within one particular instance and create multiple tasks and assign to different groups and getting that done. But after ESM, I guess the HR team can have its own help desk, and a request can be created. And then once it is completed, we can move on the request to the IT team and have the IT team to handle the request. So that's how the workflow gonna be. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with the user, how an user can create a request using the self-service portal, so that I can show you what are all the different options available in the self-service portal as well. Okay, so let me quickly do that. And I'll just open the incognito window. I hope I remember the password. Oh. All right, yes, it logged in. So right now, after ESM, the user will have an option to choose which help desk you want access to. So this is one other benefit of ESM. So it's going to be one portal for all the users, and they can choose whichever instance they want to raise a request on or they want to get help from, right? So from this, I want to choose IT. So remember, I have logged in as an end user. So yeah, I guess this particular screen is pretty familiar to most of us, but we have done some customizations on it. Let me show you that real quick. Okay, so customize self-service portal. And also the previous screen, whatever we are seeing, that listed out a whole bunch of instances that can be customized as well. So here we have brought in themes. So this is going to be real handy wherein customers want to change this particular screen and they want to have a different background that can be easily done. So if you have a prior experience on HTML and JavaScript, or maybe just HTML, not JavaScript, so this is going to help you in customizing the screen for the self-service portal. So this is going to be pretty handy, wherein if you want to just modify the text or add some images or add some more options, that can be easily done right from here. So that's one cool customization that is available. And as per the scenario, we are about to create a service request for onboarding a new user. Okay, so this is one other enhancement, probably just rolled on real quick, but I just want to quickly show you that as well. So earlier it used to list out the whole bunch of templates in one particular format, but in the latest version, we have brought in an option to customize this, meaning you can choose whichever layout you want to show up all these request templates. So this is gonna be real handy so that we can make users to choose the right one, because this supports images as well, meaning you can have say if you have a customer who has offices in different geographical location and they talk different languages altogether, so these images gonna be of real help, right? So having the images here, so this is going to help the users in finding the right one. And this is one among the new enhancement that we have done on this particular area. And then just have the form, and I'm just switched over and logged in as an end user again. So I'm going to onboard myself. Just kidding. So just try to create a request to demonstrate. Okay, joining as support engineer. And some number over here. Right. Okay, so this is again a new enhancement that we have done. So we all know that we have option to create resource questions, but here comes graphical resource questions, meaning the user can choose the option whichever is needed by looking at the small icon or small image next to it. So this is one other enhancement that we have done in the latest builds. So it can have the graphical images with the options. So this is going to be real cool when the customers have users in different geographical location and they speak different languages. So this is going to be real handy. So apart from that, the functionality is same, just an addition that it can show up images. All right, so the request is submitted. I'm just switching back again as a technician, and I'm gonna look at the request. All right, so this is showing up all the information on the request page. And I'm going to switch to the template customizer to show you how these options can be configured. The resource questions can be configured. All right, so here you have an option to add resource and then choose desktop model. And here it's gonna be a pick list and we can edit this. And hope you all are aware it is possible to pull the product types right from the asset management database, and that can be done from here. So for the resource questions, the options can be pulled in from the asset management product types, right? So this is going to show up the list of workstation, and for each workstation, it is possible to add an image and a description to it. So this is going to get more help to the users to choose the right option, right? So this is the one, and also we have enabled cost. So this is going to compute the total cost involved on this request. And also it is possible to enable the specific cost details for having this particular service request fulfilled. And as usual, we have the option to show to requester and show to technician. And then under workflow, the addition, what we have here is the checklist. And yeah, one new enhancement that has been added in the recent times is multiple SLAs for service requests. Meaning earlier, we had option only to associate one SLA to service request, and that will be associated to the template. Wherein in the latest version, it is possible to associate multiple SLAs to it. Say for example, for managers, say if the manager requests for a laptop, you can provide him an option to choose that he needs a laptop in an urgent basis. So the SLA would be associated or linked automatically to the request accordingly. So specific to the particular user groups, you can provide the option. Say the SLA, I have already created an SLA urgent, and here if I have specific user groups, I can associate this SLA to this particular user group. So any user, any member from this particular user group access this particular template to create requests, they'll be getting an option to choose their SLA, meaning they can choose whether it's going to be urgent or it's going to be normal. And likewise, if you don't want this urgent option to be shown up to the other users, that can be restricted as well. So there's going to be one cool feature, and mostly requested feature by the customers as well. And then checklist, yes, that's going to be same as we have seen with the incident management. So we can make sure the technicians handles all the things based on the checklist. And then yes, again the request, hope you remember we talked about the request properties and task. So there's going to be one other useful feature and mostly requested, and that is available as well. And apart from that, most of the automations, whatever we discuss, it's going to be same for incident management and service request management. So I just want to quickly jump into asset management, and I don't want to spend much time because we do not have much new enhancements over here. So I'm going to quickly run through what are all the different options through which we can do a scan and how the products can be classified. So it won't take more than 5 to 10 minutes. And then I want to discuss on one enhancement that we have done for the SNMP scanning. Okay, so first thing, the inventory process or the scanning methodology, the discovery process in services can happen in 4 different ways. The first one would be the network scan, wherein we can simply configure the IP address range. So the application will ping each and every device available, and it will inventory it. So that's option number 1. And option number 2 is a domain scan. So we configure Active Directory, and in that, from Active Directory, we pull in all the workstations associated, and we do the scan one after another and get it added. And then the third option is the agent, and that's one of the most recommended option right now. So the agent can be deployed. And when I say agent, the agent communication can be more secure. We have been doing a lot of enhancements behind the agent configuration, but in the user perspective, they won't see any difference. But here we have added how the agent can communicate in a secured manner. So you can enable certain TCP protocols, and also we can enable only certain ciphers needs to be used. So all these can be configured in the agent. So this is one enhancement that we have for a while, but it wasn't available earlier when we started with the agent. And then we also have the standalone audit, meaning you can have a script scan. So we can deploy a script on a Windows, Linux, Mac, or HP UX through which the scanning can be done. So that's option. And if you want to know about the list of devices or machines that can be scanned, it can be Windows. We use WMA protocol, Telnet SSH for Linux, VMware APIs for VMware, and SNMP V1, V2, V3. And then we also provided an integration with SCCM. So there's going to be one good integration that we have provided with asset management. So probably you guys have heard the question from the customers because they already use SCCM and why they have to have another agent to inventory the whole application. So that that particular question can be answered by showing the integration between SCCM and Service Desk Plus. So this is going to be a real quick option, and this is going to synchronize all the assets from SCCM to Service Desk Plus. Okay, so the enhancement that I want to talk about is on the SNMP. So earlier, or maybe maybe earlier, when you come across a new device that was not available already in the system, I think it was a little hard, wherein we need to find a configuration file called snmp configuration.xml, and we had to configure the new device and other parameters. So right now, we have provided that particular functionality within the user interface itself. And also, in addition to that, we also have the MIB browser. So this is going to be helping us in doing a walkthrough of the devices and getting those inventoried. And also, say if you come across a new device, you can get the MIB file, getting that loaded, and add the parameters from here. So this is going to be a real cool feature when it comes to SNMP scanning, and this is one of the recent addition. And apart from that, we have the asset loan feature. So this is going to be helping you in loaning the assets. Say if you get if a customer gets a contract employee, and this option going to be real easy. Okay, and in addition to that, we have the software asset management, wherein the software would be scanned and brought into the application, and then the licenses would be added accordingly. And based on the licenses, we check if we will allocate the licenses to the respective installation and do the compliance calculation. So that's going to get us a whole summary of how many overused license, underused license, and also we can mark some applications that are propagated, so that the notification will be sent to the admin as well as the user who has this particular software installed on his computer. All right, and about the barcode, I guess this has been there for a while as well. So we have three options. Either you can add assets using the vendor's barcode, or we can create a new set of barcodes, or we can create barcodes for the existing assets. So all these are available right within the barcode. Using them, it can be managed easily. Right, and then say if an asset is not available, then we can go for purchase. So earlier it used to be just purchase order. Right now we have a purchase request as well. Say when you have a service request requesting for a new computer, we can check if that particular asset is available in the store. So if it is not available, then we can go for purchase request, wherein we can get approvals from IT manager or CTO and so on. So upon getting that approved, it will be converted as a PO, and again it will be submitted for approval, and the finance team would approve it, and the purchase order would be sent to the vendor, and then the items would be received. It can be either partially received or completely received and added back into the asset management. So this is the workflow of the purchases, and upon getting the new products added into the system, and when it's connected to the network, if it's IT asset, that can be inventoried. And for the assets, whatever procured, we can also add the contracts, and there's going to be a useful option when it comes to get a notification upon a contract is about to expire, right? So that can be done using the contract management, and this will help users to make sure that they are renewing the contracts on time. All right. And the next topic which I want to discuss is on CMDB, Configuration Management Database. It's all about building relationship between one component to another. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. So we have an option to create CIs and create association between them. And the recent option that we have right now is business views. So we have an option to create a business view. So here, this is the kind of dashboard that we can create for the service. and this is gonna get us the whole bunch of links that we have available with the CMDB module. So I'm not sure I have some thing over here. All right, so this is gonna get you a kind of dashboard wherein you can see how many requests are requested against that particular service and what are the different components, and this can be exported as well. So with this, I just gave a brief on the asset management. And one more additional information that I wanna pass on when I talk about asset management is distributed as a scan. So most of you guys associated with ManageEngine or working on Service Desk Plus for a while, hope you all know that there is an option for distributed asset scanning. So using which it is possible to deploy a probe in different environments through which we can get all asset information into the centralized Service Desk instance. So that's gonna be an Asset Explorer free license provided, using which we can scan and bring in all the device information. Okay, so with this, I just want to complete the whatever options available within the application and the different managements, whatever available out of box. And the other two topics which I want to go through are the integrations and customizations. So I understand that we have been crossing 1.5 hours, but I promise that I'm going to spend only another 15 to 20 minutes to complete it. I won't take more than that. I'm really sorry for getting this extended. I have prepared this presentation to be done within 1.5 hours, but unfortunately due to the internet connectivity and some issues, it has extended a little bit. I'm sorry about it, but I hope the information, whatever I'm providing over the session, gonna be really helpful for you in working with the customers. All right. So this is about integrations. So we have plenty of integrations that are available out of box. AD Manager Plus. Yes, we all know this particular product. So this is going to offer options to control or do some actions right on Active Directory from the request. Meaning if you have an onboarding request and the user has to create a request in Active Directory. So this is going to be providing an option right on the request. So by clicking on the action, it is possible to get all information captured from the request form to the Active Directory. I mean, there will be a custom HTML form that will be populated, and by clicking on create, this will create the user account in Active Directory. So there's gonna be one cool integration using which the actions, whatever is supposed to be done on Active Directory, gonna be real easier. Right, and also these are several such options, and each option can be associated with a template, and also we can specify only specific set of roles can access to the template. So this is the AD Manager Plus integration, and AD Self-Service Plus. It is possible to make a button available on the user interface through which it is possible to perform password reset or any such actions in Active Directory. And then the most important integration that we have, and I guess this is one of the mostly used integration, which is the advanced analytics integration. So I just want to quickly take a second to get you a glimpse of what are the different options available with this particular integration. So yeah, demo.analytics plus. All right, one second. So I'll quickly demonstrate it as well. So this is going to get you plenty of reports by default. That is, as soon as you integrate it, this is going to get you a whole bunch of reports that can be used for any business. So I will be landing upon the CAO dashboard, and this is going to be a quick dashboard for a CAO. This will be auto-generated. And these graphs are pretty dynamic, meaning it's not a static dashboard wherein they can just look at the data. Even if they want to drill down the data, they can simply click on here, and also it is possible to change the chart types and get the data as per their specific needs. And also creating dashboards and creating reports gonna be simpler using this advanced analytics. So that's gonna be all user interface based report creation. So this is gonna be more helpful for the customers. So I would recommend we suggest analytics for the users whomever have some extreme reporting requirements. All right. And let me just quickly move on to the next integration, which I want to discuss on is the Desktop Central. Yes, this is another important integration that we have. So again, this is going to help us in performing these right from the service display ticket. Say a user is requesting for installing a software, so they don't have to go to Desktop Central interface and deploy a software, or they don't have to go to the customer environment directly to deploy software. Rather, it can be performed right from the ticket. So these options will be available right on the ticket. Just by clicking on the option, the respective action would be performed on the machine. Likewise, this is one other cool option that can be performed, meaning say a end user has some performance issue. So we have some standard troubleshooting steps like cleaning off the recycle bin and clearing off the temporary items and doing a disk defragmentation. So these options can be performed right from the ticket. So when a user writes a new request saying that they have issues with the performance, this can be performed just by a click of a button. So this is going to be real handy. And when you have a Desktop Central integration, the asset inventory process going to be a little different because we have an agent and also Desktop Central as an agent. When compared Desktop Central agent to our agent, the Desktop Central agent is more powerful, meaning it can do a lot more things like software metering. So it is recommended to use the Desktop Central agent, and that will scan the machines and push the data into service disk, wherein the inventory can be done over here. So that's one advantage of using the Desktop Central. And then Desktop Central has integrated mobile device management, using which it is possible to manage the mobile interface right within this service desk interface itself. Meaning, if I want to locate the devices, yes, that can be done right from the ticket. And if you want to remote lock and or if you want to wipe off the data, that can be performed just by a click of a button without having to jump onto a different interface. So this is going to be a handy option that can be available for our customers by integrating the Desktop Central with MDM with Service Desk Plus. And then the next integration is on Op Manager. And yes, I think we have already discussed about this. So right now we can create the alerts as tickets, and also we can close the tickets if the alarm is suppressed. So that's going to be the basic functionality available with Op Manager integration. And Password Manager Pro. So this is one of the security based integration. Okay, say the Password Manager Pro will help you manage all the passwords. And say when a technician wants to access one particular server, so this particular integration going to offer one more level of validation, meaning the technician has to enter the ticket number, whatever created in the application, through which the technician can be validated to access the particular server or not. So this is going to be an additional validation or security thing that can be included with this integration. And then Site 24/7, it's again a monitoring solution and cloud-based, so that's going to be integrated as well. And Jira integration, yes. So I guess Jira has its own help desk as well. So they are our competitors, but still we offer integration with their bug tracking software. So it's going to be real easy configuration, using which you can just move on the tickets as bugs. And also when you have an update, you can pull the updates into our application as well. I mean, I have instances wherein I could demonstrate all of this, but due to time constraint, I'm just rushing it away. So if you have any specific questions about these integrations, yes, you can ask on the chat. I'll try to clarify it, or I will, you can have my email address and drop in an email with your question, and I'll make sure that question is being answered. Okay, so that's all the integrations that we have at present. And one more integration that I want to talk about, which is one of the hot topics around the globe, it's artificial intelligence, right? So we in Zoho, we have our own artificial intelligence with the name ZIA, Zoho Interactive Assistant, and that is integrated with Service Desk. So right now, this is solving an issue with the request approver, meaning I think this is one among the frequently requested functional or feature as well. Say an approval mail is sent, the approver will have a link. They have to click on the link and take the respective action. But with this particular feature, it is possible that the requester or the approver can simply respond to the email. So they can say any keyword, just like the way it is available over here, and this gonna take the respective action on the request. Meaning if we say, all right, yes, that's gonna be approved. Abandon the plan, or if it's gonna be rejected. So just by the email response, the action can be taken. And this is one cool enhancement that we have recently added into the application. And this was made available using the Zoho Interactive Assistant. Okay, so that's a quick summary of default integrations that are available at present. I just want to quickly get you the presentation wherein I just have a quick slide on how or what is the vision in making these integrations happening. So, yep. With this integration, it is possible to have IT service management in the middle of the application ecosystem, and all other applications can be controlled right from here or managed right from here. Meaning the operations can be managed from here. I'm sorry, not the applications can be managed, just the operations can be managed from here. And this is the vision of us, so that the complete end-to-end IT can be managed from one single console. So this is the idea behind offering all these integrations in place. All right. So far we have seen whatever available out of box, and there's gonna be one other interesting topic that I want to end up with. So this is on extension, how we can extend the functionalities of the application with the third-party software or third-party application or third-party devices, anything. So the opportunities we get using these options gonna be endless. So I just want to discuss on the couple of use cases. Probably you can imagine what are the different things that you can achieve using these options. And I think I do have one question on chat about integrating a third-party system. So the person who more asked gonna get an answer when we are discussing about this. All right. So the first thing when I want to talk about the extensions is the APIs. So we have all powerful APIs with the system, which is web-based, and it is REST, representation and state transfer. And that's going to be an easy way to start with the integrations. And we have a sandbox available. So that's going to be accessed using the API link, which is available in the admin section. And there you have all the API methods. So since it follows the HTTP protocol, I mean, the REST APIs are based on HTTP protocol. We use the base, standard methods, get, post, delete, and update. So any application that has an option to consume these APIs, it would be easier. And also we use both JSON and XML. So yeah, that's gonna be a pretty standard data interaction formats. So that's gonna be real handy as well. All right, so we have this plenty of APIs that can be accessed. We can verify if, verify what requests should be provided and how you get the response. That's all can be checked right from the sandbox. So, yep, so the API is the first thing which I want to discuss on this particular topic. And the next cool thing that I want to discuss is on the custom triggers. So this gonna be a real powerful feature using which we're gonna pass on the information from application to another exactly when the particular action is being done on the application. Say when a request is created, and if it's matching a specific criteria, it is possible that we can pass on the complete request information to a custom script, meaning it can be a script that can run from the command prompt. It can be of a Python script or a batch file or a VB script or a PowerShell script. So we can call any script and we can provide the complete request information in the JSON format. So you can imagine, so the script can be written in such a way that you can consume the data, push the data into another system, get the response and update back on the request. So this is gonna be a powerful feature, as I said earlier. So with this, any integration can be made possible. Meaning if you want to share the data from service desk to another system, yes, that can be done. Or if you want to post an update on another system, like a chat tool, that can be made as well. And this particular trigger can be done when a request is created, edited, or approved, rejected. So we have plenty of this option using which any level of automation can be done. And if you're wondering whether if you could get the samples on how we can work with these triggers, you can go to pitstop.manageengine.com, wherein we have published plenty of such customizations which we have addressed for other customers. So that's going to be a real knowledge base wherein you can get the whole list of requirements that were addressed using this particular option. So I will also ping this link to you all. So this is going to be real helpful when it comes to customizations. So I just pinged the, okay, so I just pinged the URL on chat, so you can make use of it. And this is going to have the whole list of scripts that we have already created and address some of the customizations for the customer. So this is going to be really useful. So please do make use of it. Okay, getting back. Yes, custom triggers. Yes, this will work based on the criteria, and this is automatic. That is, when the criteria is matched, that's going to do the stuff. And this is one other enhancement. One other enhancement that we have done. So here it is possible to trigger a notification. So this is gonna get us an option to trigger a notification when a particular criteria is met. Meaning you will have a set of notifications that can be enabled in general, and there's gonna be an additional option through which this can be triggered for a specific set of requests. This is gonna be useful as well. Okay, and the next feature that I want to demonstrate is the request custom menu. So the custom triggers are automatic, right? That would be triggered when the specific criteria is met. And the request custom menu is manual, meaning it can be made available on the request. So the technician has to click on that particular action so that the respective thing would be performed. Meaning, okay, let's say just like the Jira integration. So we need to validate if the particular request has to be created as a bug. So the technician has to manually do it. And upon he finds that particular request should be moved on to the Jira system, they can simply go under custom actions and perform the specific action. Let me just quickly demonstrate it. I hope I do have a custom action created. Yeah, there we go. So this is going to be available. So if you have multiple custom action, that's going to be available over here. So the action will be performed just by a click of a button right from the request. And most of these integrations can be done or done using this particular custom menus. So I'm saying this just for you to imagine how powerful it is and how we can achieve some integrations using this. And it has its own advantage of having an in-between layer through which you can have an HTML file, meaning you can have control on an HTML file, and the HTML file can get values from the request so that we can let the user to validate those details before it's being sent to another application. So this is going to be a real cool feature through which we can have an additional layer, and that's going to have your own custom HTML file. The things will be validated and pushed on to other system. Okay, so that's about the request custom menu. And okay, one other information that I want to provide is the same script, whatever can be configured on custom triggers can be configured on custom menus as well. So custom triggers, automatic, and the custom menu is manual. So it will be available and we can run it just by a click of a button. And the third thing which I want to talk is on the custom schedule. So this is going to be another real cool feature using which we can access almost any data from our database. So all we have to do is create a query report with whatever fields required, and we can create a script and provide the report as an input, and we can run this on a periodic basis. So this is going to get us an option to add the records from here to another system periodically, or if you have a requirement to pull data periodically from another system and get that added into our application using APIs, that can be made possible. Or if you want to close a request that are in specific status on a periodic manner, that can be made possible using custom triggers. So this is going to be a quite powerful feature we have in the application, using which the integrations can be made more tight, more seamless. Okay, so similar set script execution can be done on business rules, as I was demonstrating earlier, and also it can be done on request lifecycle. And the custom triggers are available with requests as well as on the changes. Okay, so the last topic which I want to discuss on this day is one of the most important topics, the field and the form rules. So the scripts, whatever we have been discussing on custom triggers, custom menu, and custom schedules, are server side. So the processing would be done on the server side. Whereas the script, whatever we are going to build on field and form rules, is client side. Meaning whatever script you create over here, this is gonna run on the browser. Meaning you cannot expect these rules applied over to the requests that are created using email, because the email will be processed in the server side. Okay, so I don't want to spend much time on this. I just plant an idea of how this can be used. So I just want to get a use case on this. Okay, say we have seen the onboarding form. So initially, when a user creates a request, we might have a question whether that particular user needs a laptop or a desktop. So this is one question that should be made available. Think of a traditional paper form. So that's going to have multiple options, meaning regardless of whatever option they choose, it's going to have multiple options and the user will get confused, right? So with this particular feature, it is possible to make those forms intelligent and dynamic, meaning initially when the form is loaded, we can hide all the options. We don't want to show any of those. We can simply ask whether you need a desktop or a laptop. So based on the option chosen, then it is possible to show further more options, meaning you can show some fields and you can show up some options accordingly, meaning you can even control what options supposed to be shown up on a drop down. So this is dynamic, meaning it can be done by having a particular option chosen on the request form. So they don't have to submit. Just simply by choosing one of the options, these scripts will listen to it and perform the actions accordingly. And then on submit, we can do the validation, meaning if you have a field that asks for a number of monitors and you have the limit of the maximum number of monitors requested can be requested is 3, you can make sure that the user is filling that particular number or within that particular number. And the additional advantage of using field and form rules is this will allow JavaScripts, meaning if you are good in JavaScripts, you can write it and you can have the form to have custom pop-ups, or you could, if you want, even integrate other systems using this one. Say if you want to pull data from other system and populate into our fields, that can be made possible as well. So we have some sample scripts, and one of the interesting scripts that is available by default is dependency example. Say if you have a requirement of country, state, and the city, so 3 fields. So if you want to create a drill down model similar to our category, subcategory, and item, so that can be easily made possible using the dependency example over here. So all we have to do is simply manipulate this, using which it is possible to achieve, right? So that's going to be a real cool option here. And then we have a few other examples as well. So if you want to do a numeric field validation, or if you want to set date and time, so that can be made possible using this particular option, right? Okay. And the latest enhancement that we have done on this particular area is on page scripts, meaning with the page scripts, it is possible to customize the pages. Say if you want to show one specific information on the page, it would be possible using the page scripts. We have an option to inject some code to the page, using which you can have, or you can show some custom things. Meaning, say if you want to add a button, or if you want to add a video on how to use that particular template, so that's going to be real easy and easily achieved using the page scripts. So again, similar to field and form rules, we have an option, or we have some samples as well. So say you can have a script through which you can embed some text or some video, or say if you want to add a button, hide a button, or if you want to add a widget on any page in the application, that can be made possible using the custom scripts. And you have more control over the request details page, wherein based on the condition, you can show up something. Like say if you want to show up a widget on how this could be processed, meaning how the user onboarding procedure would work on the company, so they can have a step-by-step instruction dynamically using this page script. So this is going to be one other powerful feature using which we can make the application more dynamic. All right, so that's about page script. And one other enhancement that has been done is the field and form rules. So earlier, the field and form rules should be configured on a template level, but right now it has been made available on the global level, meaning we can create one set of field and form rules, and that can be made available on all the templates. So these are all global rules, and this is one other enhancement that has been done on the latest version. Okay, so let me just quickly verify whether I have covered all the points which I want to talk about today. So give me 1 second, and then I can proceed to the questions. Yeah, I guess, yeah, these are all completed. Yes. Okay, cool. I think I have almost covered, or maybe 100% covered, all the features that I want to discuss today. And let me move on to the questions. Yes, we have plenty of questions. Okay, so I think this is gonna extend another 30 minutes. So what I do is I'll quickly pick some of the questions and answer it to you right away. And also I'll just consolidate everything in one document and I'll share it to you all, right? So I'll make sure that it reaches all of you. Okay, so the first question is from Abdul Rahman. What about multi-factor authentication? All right, so the multi-factor authentication is not available at the moment, but right now, as I was saying during the session, so almost 99% of our customers are using Active Directory authentication, and our AD Self-Service Plus offers multi-factor authentication. So if the customer has this particular option as a checklist, then probably we can say that one other product of ManageEngine as the multi-factor authentication, which is AD Self-Service Plus, and that can be integrated. So if the customer is using Active Directory, then we can sell AD Self-Service Plus, and also we can say that the particular option is available. All right. Next question, region, site, department. Is there a possibility of a granular breakdown for the segmentation, like a floor? Got this one lead? Okay, so I guess this is something which is related to facilities. Yes, so we can make use of CMDB, right? So we can have CMDB configured in such a way, we can have the CA types created, and this is a workaround using which we can have the segmentation level. So if you want me to quickly show you that, I'm not sure I have that instance such created for one other customer. Yeah, I have it, fortunately. So I just created one such thing for non-IT requirement. Say this one equipment, and say this is gonna show up. Oh, okay. So yeah, let me check. Okay, equipment. Let me choose another. All right, so you can create separate hall, room, floor. So this is gonna get you a logical diagram of how these devices are connected to floor or building and so on. So I guess the CMDB would be the best thing that we can suggest to the customer as for now. Okay, so the question is how to set up a backup technician. Okay, so the backup technician is available over here. I'm sorry, not this. Here. And also one other important enhancement I forgot to discuss on is the backup approver. So right now it is possible to assign a backup approver. So earlier we had only backup technician that can be done over here. So when a technician is on leave, it is possible to have a backup technician so that all automations would work accordingly. And in addition to that, we do have a backup approver. So even when a particular approver not going to be available, the technician can have a backup approver added, or administrator can have a backup approver added. So all the approvals would be routed through that particular backup approver. So this is available as well. To answer your question, yes, backup tech chart. So if you have some technician mark their leave, it is possible to have a backup technician so that the request will be assigned to the backup technician. How do you get to automate the service SLA? One service template is submitted. Very good addition. Okay, how to set? How do you get to automate the service SLA? One service template is submitted. Okay, so the service request SLA would be chosen by the user itself. So that's how it makes a difference from the incident service request management. Because in case of incident service request management, it works based on the criteria. Whereas the service request, the SLA in service request management will be chosen by the end user themselves. So it is not automatic and they will choose it. So no way it can be modified later on. All right, in change management, how this DevOps feature, test executions, outcomes, run production, therefore this change management workflow catering the change on production or in the DevOps space. All right. Okay, so for addressing this, we are coming up with release management. So our cloud offering has a release management already, and that's going to be available in on-premise as well. So once that is available, yes, of course, the DevOps can be captured. And right now the workaround is using the project management or request management. So once the release management is available, yeah, that can be done. All right, in change module, must everyone get notifications on approvals done by every member of the change management workflow? Can we have only next person in the change flow to get notification for him to carry out his own action? Okay, you may, I think you want to have step-by-step notification. Yes, this is again available on our roadmap. So multi-level of approvals. So this is available on the roadmap for change. So this will be available real soon. When are we getting automation on CMDB? Question by David Lawrence. Okay. All right. So our vision on getting the automation done on CMDB using integrations, meaning we are looking into the systems through which the CMDB can be populated. So right now we have the integration with App Manager, Applications Manager of ManageEngine. So from which we are just populating the service and the list of devices connected to it. So our vision on enhancing the CMDB is by bringing in integration with the systems that has got this diagram. All right, and the next question I have is, can we integrate tag printer, for example, Zebra printer to service desk? Okay, so the printer gonna be attached to the computer. So we offer option to design how the printing should happen. So if the machine supports it, of course, you can integrate Zebra printer to it. In CMDB module, application discovery, dependency mapping available now, such as impact on update changes, CS chatbot. Okay, this is one other thing which I want to which we want to address using Zia, our artificial intelligence, and this is gonna be available real soon. So work is in progress right now. We have multiple use cases that are being addressed using Zia. So this could be one among them. All right, are these features also available on cloud? Some of these are already available. Some are being cached up because, this is one common question which I want to address to all audience. So cloud, Service Desk on cloud is built on top of SaaS framework. And then on-premise is on different framework. So based on the framework support, we are just developing and releasing the features, but we always try to balance or always try to match the features between the cloud offering and on-premise. So we may have a particular feature released on cloud or on-premise depending upon the framework support, but we will definitely catch up those features in both offerings. All right, when will automations of CMD be made available? Yes, as I said, it's going to be based on the integrations. So we are enhancing the APIs at the moment. So once we have all powerful APIs, and also we are planning to open up a marketplace. So if the companies with a development background, it is possible to integrate other systems through which we're going to bring in these integrations. All right, so from the user view, emails to notify does not auto-populate from the AD. Okay, how do we resolve it? User view, emails to notify does not auto-populate from the AD. So if we have the integration, AD integration in place, it is possible just to type in few letters of the name, get it done. Yeah, we can check that real quick. How to change the user site on-prem, and on cloud. Yes, we can simply edit it and modify it if it was imported. Then probably you got to correct it from the AD, Active Directory, if it is imported from Active Directory. In project management, is there a possibility to show consumables? Okay. So that's still in development, wherein we just want to show more consumables. And store management. That's one other enhancement that is being developed, or it's in the planning stage. So probably if you're interested, you can drop in an email to me. I will just share you my email address. So I will connect you to the people whom are working on this particular thing. Probably your inputs might be helpful as well. So store management, it's work in progress. Please share your slide. Yes, I will. Are you doing something about asset and space for facility department? Yes, we are constantly looking for the use cases that we get on the facilities management, and we are trying to address it one after another. So yes, for the people who are associated with ManageEngine for quite a while, probably you guys can remember there was a product called Facilities Desk. So we are planning to bring in some more functionality based on the latest trends we have in the facilities. Yes, we have the work parallelly going on by our product managers. Can we get the recording of this webinar? Yeah, I can check with the organizers and see if this can be shared, but I cannot commit on this. Can multiple SLAs be assigned to the service takers template? Yes, that is possible at the moment. I hope I have demonstrated how that can be done. So you can have multiple service level agreement, and even you can choose which are all the user groups can choose that specific service level agreement. That can be done as well. All right, so yep, I guess I have covered all the question, and that was real quick. I managed to complete within 15 minutes. Great. I think it's time to wrap up this session, and you audience have been real interactive and yes, knowledgeable as well by looking at the questions. Yes, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. And I make sure that you guys get my presentation and keep in touch. And yes, you guys have asked for the email address. So this is my email. So you can get in touch with me for any questions, any specific questions you might have. And I guess some of you guys also have my phone number. So in case of any urgent issues, you can reach me out on my phone number as well. So thank you all.